Let's go live to Brisbane now, and joining us is the Queensland Premier Annastacia Palaszczuk. Premier, good morning to you. Thank you for your time. So from next Monday when the border opens, are you expecting bedlam at the border?
I wouldn't say that. I think we're going to be expecting a lot of delay. So we're asking people for their patience, and also the Police Commissioner has asked for people to think about not travelling during those peak times. Our priority in the morning is to get those caravans that have been camped there at the border for quite some time, to get them processed, to get them through. So I'm quite sure they'll be lining up at midnight. We want to get those caravans through, and then, of course, everyone else. But please make sure only fully vaccinated people can cross the border there. If you are unvaccinated, you have to come in by air.
So, realistically, Premier, how long can people expect to have to stay in their cars for?
I don't have that information. It is going to be busy, but honestly, this is about a process of having your border pass, having your negative PCR test, having your patience, and being able to come across into Queensland. And trust me, the worth will be worth it.
Well,
so
I mean, you'd be aware.
Will be worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of people who want to get into Queensland and have wanted to for some time. So would a rough estimate be, as you get closer to Coolangatta, should we say, that people may be slowed down by several hours?
Oh, well, we expect delays. So we're asking people to avoid those peak hours and spread your journey. And, of course, the borders are opening on the Monday instead of the Friday. So that allows, people to come in earlier, and there's more time as well. So, look, people should spread out their travel times and think about it and plan before they come. Make sure you've got your border pass, you've got your negative PCR test, and that you will comply with the directions of the Chief Health Officer.
Okay.
You also need to have a PCR test on day 5.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to get to there. So part of the rules is you've got to get a you've got to get a test on day 5. Can people be sure wherever they go in Queensland that there's probably a good chance that day 5 will land on Christmas Day? Will there be enough testing facilities that will be open then?
Yeah, there will be. They'll be able to get their tests done, but they need to factor this in to their travel plans when they come into Queensland. So we're welcoming people from other states into our Queensland community. We want you to enjoy your time with family and friends, but as an added layer of protection to protect Queenslanders and to protect yourselves and your family, please factor in that day 5 test. We believe that will add an extra layer of protection.
Right. So no days off for the testing clinics?
No, people work here round the clock.
Okay, good one.
We're pretty busy here in Queensland.
No doubt. Last week, Premier, you said that countries have closed their borders, which indicates to you that Omicron is far more serious than Delta. Have you changed your mind on that?
Look, I said very clearly that the Prime Minister and the Chief Health Officer, they're the lead in relation to this. They have not given us any indication to worry about it. We've got a National Cabinet meeting on Friday. The ball is firmly in their court for them to update the public, and I will trust what they have to say. I mean, they've got the expert information, and I will bow to them for their understanding of this new variant.
So you're not worried about the new variant as things stand at the moment?
Well, I've got no reason to be worried because I haven't been told anything different.
Okay, so will this be it? Will this be the end of the closed border?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I think everyone hopes so. But 2 years ago, I didn't think we'd be dealing with the pandemic. I don't think anyone did. We never know what's around the corner, but we've been following the national plan, and we're looking forward to families reuniting and seeing loved ones. And I hope you've booked your flight to Brisbane or Queensland as well.
I'm coming up to Queensland, yeah, no doubt about that. I'll be driving the car though, which was why there were so many questions about the road delays.
Oh, okay. Now I know the hidden agenda.
So I must confess that's a hidden agenda there. You're correct. So anyway, down the track, what would the threshold be, Premier, to shut the border again?
Well, we hope that doesn't happen. Honestly, we've got high vaccination rates. I think when the outbreak happened in Sydney, only 4% of the population was vaccinated. in Queensland, we're in a completely different situation. I mean, our response has been world-leading. Tragically, 7 people have lost their lives, but we haven't had the waves that Sydney and Melbourne have experienced. I know that's been tough down south, but we now have a situation where we have high vaccination rates, 80% double dose. We've looked at the Doherty modelling. We're heading towards 90%. We should be hitting 90% in a couple of weeks, and 90% double dose around middle of January. So I'm really happy that Queenslanders have come out and got vaccinated, even though we haven't had the waves that you've had down south, which has prompted people to go and get vaccinated. It's been a very different situation here.
Yeah, I mean, you're about to cross 80% double dose, but you've got some of the Indigenous communities, particularly Yarrabah and Far North Queensland. They're still, last time I checked, at about 25% double dose. What are you going to do about that?
They were 68% first dose last week when I checked. I haven't seen the maps for this week, but they should be higher than that. So there's been big efforts. So people have been going in door to door to our Indigenous communities. Some of our great sporting legends, Jonathan Thurston, Steve Renouf, they've been going out, talking to people. Unfortunately, there has been a lot of misinformation out on social media. And unfortunately, a lot of people have taken that, but when people go in door to door and sit down and speak to families, they understand how important it is to get vaccinated. So we're continuing to drive that. My ministers have been to these remote communities as well. I sent them out. I know the federal government has been into these communities. They've sent officers in there to help with the vaccination program. So I think there is a real joint effort here, recognising that these are vulnerable communities. And Queensland's a big state, 2.5 times the size of Texas, and there are a lot of remote and Indigenous communities, especially around our Cape and up in our Torres Strait.
Okay, just back to Omicron one more. Dominic Perrottet and Dan Andrews have both said that they won't be pursuing Omicron 0. Will you be taking the same approach?
Well, we're opening the borders. We are going to see cases. We absolutely know that Queenslanders have got to change our mindset. I mean, I'm going to have to change my mindset as well, because we're used to coming out and saying 0 cases, 0 cases. When the borders open, Delta will be coming into Queensland. We understand that, and Queenslanders are ready, and they know that to reunite with family and friends, that's what's going to happen.
I just had a tourist operator from Cairns, and Premier, he still says that there is a drastic shortage of skilled workers and international students, as there is all over the country at the moment. Would you be urging the federal government to lift its current pause on that?
Look, that's a matter for them. I'll let them be in charge of the international borders. You'll have to direct those questions to the Prime Minister.
Right, but would you make any exemptions?
But we do recognise that there is...
Yeah, sure, but if there is...
We do recognise that there is a shortage of skilled workforce. We're actually holding a workforce summit here in Queensland in March to talk about those issues. And look, we recognise it's an Australia-wide problem. It's not just unique to Queensland.
But let's just say, for argument's sake, that the Premier, that the federal government does lift its current pause, which is due to end shortly anyway. You've still got a 14-day quarantine period for international arrivals that will end once you hit 90% double dose. But would you be prepared at all to make any exemptions for workers into Queensland?
It's a matter for the federal government to allow people to come in from other countries.
But if people do come in from other countries, and we're talking about students and migrants here, to get to Queensland to help the tourism sector.
We've got WellCamp, and people can quarantine in WellCamp.
Okay, but you wouldn't make any exemptions on that with the 14 days of quarantine.
Not at this stage, no, because we haven't hit the 90% double dose.
Okay, not until next month anyway. Premier, appreciate your time this morning. I know it's a busy morning. It's a great news story. Appreciate you coming on the program to answer the questions. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, thank you.